Hi stampers and crafters, my name's Tina Wardell. I'm from Tina's Crafty Ink Spot. I had the pleasure of being asked by Split Coast Stampers to put together a fun tutorial for you, and this one I call tea bag stamping. And we're going to take regular tea bags and turn them into these fun little vintage looking cards. It's a really simple technique, and we're just going to jump right in. We'll go over the supplies that are at the top of this post. To start with, you want to start with a couple of tea bags. Now these were steeped, and then I put them in a dish and let them set overnight to dry. If you put them in a dish or a plate, you'll get better staining on your bag itself. If you take your tea bag while it's wet and you put it on a paper towel to dry, a lot of your tea staining is going to transfer to the paper towel and you'll not have it on your bag. So my suggestion would be a small plate or bowl for your tea bags. Now there's two ways that you can do these. We can do them where they are the complete tea bag, and I'm going to show you how to get the tea out of it and maintain the whole tea bag without destroying it. And you can also, I'm going to show you how you can open up the tea bag and just use portions of the tea bag paper. So let's get started. Now this little tea bag right here, just before I started the video, it had a little tear in it. But that's okay, because we're going to use that one to show you how to open up a complete tea bag. Okay? On the tea bag, there's a tiny little staple that they use that holds on your tag. What you want to do is either take a small point of your tweezers, or you can use a toothpick. And under the back side of that, just get under that little staple. It'll bend quite easily once you get under it. Trick is getting under it and not tearing your bag. So we got that one started, and then we'll open the other side. And make sure you save your little tag. Some of them have little sayings on them, plus you can stamp on those. So we're going to take out this little staple right here. And you want to try to be careful not to tear your bag. There we go, we got it out. I'm going to throw that away before it lands on my floor. Now, once you've got that little staple out, you can unfold your bag, and you're going to end up with a pouch. And the tea's going to be inside, and you simply just tap it, open up the pouch, tap it, and the tea will come right out. Then you can gently work it. Now these bags are fairly sturdy. They're not really easy to tear when they're dry, but you want to be a little bit careful. And now, since this particular bag we're going to open up, on your tea bag is this little seam, and if you gently get into the pouch of your tea bag there, so it'll open and make a pocket, you can gently just pull that seam apart. Now, if you're having trouble getting that seam apart, simply take your water mister and gently mist that seam just a little bit, and it'll come right apart. And then we'll just wipe off the rest of our tea. You can use a little small bristle brush if you want to brush that off. And you end up with a tea bag. So you can cut this to size, or you can use the whole piece and use it that way. So now the second way, let me empty this. The second way to get the tea out and preserve the whole tea bag is the side with the folds is your back. So we're just going to take a little pair of snips and just cut one little tiny layer, probably about a third of the way up from the bottom, and just put a little tiny slit in that, being careful not to cut through more than one layer, and then just tap your bag and the tea will come right out of there. And you've got, see the little, you'll still have the little pouch there. You can just put your finger in there and work that tea down to where your slit is. And there we go. I think we got almost all of it right there. Oh, I've got a little piece right. So if you work it to where you kind of flatten out that bottom, it'll move the tea to where you need it to come out. And there we go. So now, to stamp on it, we're going to bring in a stamparatus. That's what I'm using. I would use a stamp positioning tool. Reason being, this has a little bit of texture to it, so sometimes you have to stamp more than once. And this way, with your stamp positioning tool, you can stamp more than once. You can use, I'll be using Stampin' Up! Inks today. You can use your Memento or whatever inks you have on hand. They will stamp on this, just like regular paper. I'm just going to hold our little tea bag down there. And I'm just going to use this very Versailles, and I want a little bit of texture here with some writing. See if I can move that a little bit. So you're going to line it up. I'm not trying to stamp on the whole bag. You're probably going to want to use a darker color, either a black or a brown, if you have a heavily stained bag. And each bag is going to be stained differently depending on what kind of tea was in the bag. If it was a green tea, it may be lighter. If it's a black tea, it may be darker. And then we're just going to stamp right on it. And I hold my stamp down just a couple seconds to give that ink a chance to transfer. And it transferred perfectly. So now, I'm going to leave that one. And I'm going to bring in our leaves. And you can stamp an image in which you color in, or you can do this one, which has kind of got some solid to it. And I'm using shaded spruce right now. It's just a little bit deeper green. Gonna ink that up really well. And I want a little bit darker impression, so I can just ink it up again. That's the trick of using. If you're really good at hand stamping and lining up, you can do it that way too. Me, I kind of use a positioning tool on almost everything. Okay, I like that. Now, if you want any part of your image isn't already colored in, like these leaves, you can actually use, and these work excellent, is Stampin' Up! Stampin' Right markers. So I'm just going to take the same color, the shaded spruce, and I'm just going to add a few little touch-ups or highlights on some of these leaves, just to add some accent. And now you can do that exact same technique on just your plain piece. But we're just going to use the whole bag here. We'll bring in a couple little embellishments to put on there, a couple little flower embellishments. These are frosted flowers. And I'm just going to, let's grab a nice colorful little purple one. Put it on there. And let's put the other one about right there. And now when you go to put this on your card, I would suggest a background. And what I've done is I've taken, and the measurements are up top, so I've taken a piece of very vanilla, and if you use a lighter colored background, it accents the staining of the tea better, I found. You could do white or a lighter color, but we just went like that. Now, all I did is take a regular A2 card base, which the measurements are up top for you. And this is also very vanilla. And I'm doing one layer that is 4 by 5 1/4, and I have embossed it with a partial embossing folder. We'll just glue that straight down. It's a really quick and fun technique to add really neat interest to your cards. So I'm going to glue that one straight down. Make sure I got it straight. Oops. Good thing about glue, you can move it. There we go. And now this, I will just put on with some dimensionals, just to add a little character to it. We'll add a couple dimensionals. Now the tea bags I used for this tutorial are called Yogi Tea. And these Yogi Tea bags, I'll show you the box. These Yogi Tea bags, the little tags, each one of them has a little bit different saying. This one says, "You are unlimited." The one we just stamped was, "Trust creates peace." So you can either use the tag the way it is, or a lot of the tags will have just a plain back, and you can put a butterfly or a bee. And we're just going to put this one right about there. And I'm going to keep the same saying. Kind of picked up 2 dimensionals there. And I want to keep that saying, so I'm just going to put it about right there. And then you can use either a glue dot, or what I do is I just put my string where I want it, put a small dab of glue, and there you go. You have a fun tea bag card. These are I'll put the samples down below. This is a full tea bag that's been opened up. Another partial or a closed tea bag. And another open one. I hope you enjoyed today's technique. Have a happy stamping day. Bye-bye.